Please join me in welcoming Fred Lewis.
Thank you, President Geary, for that wonderful introduction. That was very kind of you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, congrats to all you graduates. Today's a big day. It's one that you all have been working towards for quite a long time. I know how it feels to sit where you are right now. Many of you, like me, had to balance a family life, a rigorous work schedule, and academics to get where you are today. This accomplishment comes with a tremendous feeling of achievement. Let it soak in. You guys made it to the threshold of that next step. Be proud of yourselves. You deserve it. Congratulations. I tell you, if my 21-year-old undergraduate self could see me standing up here giving this commencement speech today, he would just lose his mind. This is such an incredible honor for me. Thank you to the College of St. Scholastica, President Geary and Rick Revore for inviting me to speak today. I never would have thought I'd be delivering a commencement address at all, let alone a commencement address at the ripe old age of 34 years old and at one of my alma maters. So please accept my sincere thanks for this incredible opportunity. When Rick first asked me to speak today, I have to be honest, I thought to myself, what could I possibly have to share with such a big group of my peers? After all, there are going to be people in the audience and many of the faculty in attendance with far more life experience than I have. I was pretty anxious about it, so I asked around for advice from people I knew that had delivered commencement speeches, and they gave me 3 pretty simple pieces of advice. 1, don't stress out about it because nobody's going to remember you anyways. Number 2, keep it short, no more than 15 minutes, so you guys have that to look forward to. And 3, which was really the only good advice I got on putting together a topic for this speech, was talk about people that taught you something meaningful. They encouraged me to focus on the lessons that I still find valuable today and tell stories about how that advice has made a difference in my life. That seemed easy enough. And as a matter of fact, as soon as I sat down to write this speech, the message became clear almost instantly. Funny how just a few supportive words can inspire a speech. So with their advice in mind, here goes nothing. None of us get where we are in life because we just figure it out all on our own. There's always a mentor or an influential person in our lives that teach us lessons along the way that help shape us into the people we are today. For some, it's that one teacher, your mother or father, your grandparents, or perhaps your pastor. For me, that isn't just one person, it's a bunch of folks that have really made an impact on how I go about life. I have to say, though, my road to this stage today hasn't always been a straight one. I've been around a bit, I've seen other parts of the world, and I've lived in other parts of the country, and I've certainly made plenty of mistakes. I ended up back in Duluth leading my family business, not because there was family pressure to do it, not because my family targeted me for leadership at a really young age, and not because the family business is what I've always wanted to do. I ended up on this stage and achieved a certain level of credibility worthy of this tremendous honor because a number of influential people shaped me into the person that I am today. I'd like to share with you 4 important lessons I've learned so far in my life, and I'd like to introduce you to the people that taught them to me. Hopefully at the end of this, you'll find these lessons to have some value in your own life, and you'll be left asking yourself, who are my people and what are the lessons that I've learned? Lesson 1, pursuing knowledge will get you ahead. This is a lesson I learned from my parents. I learned early on from my folks that nothing should get in the way of your education. They proved this point by showing me and leading by example. As a kid, even though school wasn't always something that I made a priority, my parents did, and thank goodness for that. They always made sure that I had access to the best education, and something must have stuck along the way because that spirit lives within me today. I try and pursue education, both formal and informal, each day, week, month, quarter, and year to this very day because I know that I would not be where I am now without education being pushed on me early in my life. Pursuing education doesn't need to be complicated, and it doesn't need to be expensive. Say yes to opportunities to learn when they present themselves. You'd be surprised at how often these experiences offer themselves to you. I know through my own personal experience that the key to getting ahead lies in gaining knowledge through education. Please, whatever you do, wherever you go, continue to pursue your education beyond today. In the long run, it's going to pay off. People are going to come into your life and they're going to tell you, you don't need a degree to be successful. You don't need that MBA to get where you're going. You don't need that accreditation to achieve your goals. Why are you wasting your time with a PhD? Law school, you're not even going to be a lawyer. Well, you know what? They might be right, but I will say with a high level of confidence, the likelihood of personal growth and professional success goes up exponentially if you get that degree, if you get that MBA, if you get that accreditation, if you pursue that PhD, if you pursue that JD. Don't leave here today and say, thank goodness I never have to see the inside of a classroom again, or thank goodness I'm finally done with school. Feel accomplished, but I hope you take this as an opportunity to move on to the next step in your pursuit of knowledge, whatever that might be. Okay, lesson 2. Setting your priorities keeps you focused. This is one I learned from my high school hockey coach, Coach Walsh. Walshy was a rough man from North Boston who didn't put up with much nonsense. Coach Walsh came into my life when I went away to boarding school in New Hampshire when I was just 16 years old. Coach Walsh coached me in hockey, of course, but also taught classes for school. He and his wife Becky lived on campus with us. They ate most of their meals with us, and they were just around a lot. Coach Walsh had a huge influence on my life and taught me a lot of things, but what I remember most and what I try to practice in my own life today is get your priorities straight. Coach Walsh wasn't just saying this cliche phrase and leaving it at that. You can imagine what high school kids could come up with if left to set their own priorities while living away from home in high school. No, Coach Walsh is going to tell us what our priorities should be. And to be honest, that was just what we needed back then. According to Coach Walsh, your priorities should be 1, family, 2, school, 3, hockey, 4, everything else. While I disagree now with his philosophy on what the priorities should be, the spirit of the lesson is this. Define your priorities and then stick with them. Don't let what's going on around you allow you to rearrange your priorities. He would always tell us, drown out all that noise, focus on what's important. Life for me is obviously very different now than it was back in boarding school. I have a family and a career, but what remains is his lesson, get your priorities straight. I can actually hear him saying that to me as I stand here speaking today. I can easily define my priorities today. They are 1, my faith, 2, my family, 3, my business, 4, my health, my mind and my body, and 5, everything else, period. Everyone will have different priorities, and my intention is not to tell you what yours should be. Instead, I want to encourage you to set your own priorities, but then live by them. After that, decision-making becomes really easy. Lesson 3, surrounding yourself with good people equals personal and professional success. The third lesson I want to share with you comes from someone I call a mentor, Larry Johnson. Larry worked for my family's business for 53 years. Larry grew up in Proctor, Minnesota, and took the bus down to North Shore Bank in downtown Duluth as a teenager and asked for a job from my grandfather 53 years ago. Larry worked for us his entire career. He worked his way up from a coin counter as a teenager all the way up to president of the bank. I have known Larry my entire life, and I look up to his accomplishments with great admiration. Larry has taught me a lot, but what sticks with me daily is one concept that I think is brilliant, but not a new idea. Surround yourself with great people, and great things will happen. Larry would tell you if he's standing up here today, his job wasn't always easy. The early years of his career as bank president were a real challenge, but not because the economy was struggling or an investment went bad, but because he inherited a management staff that was all wrong. But once he got the right people in the right places, leading the bank got much easier. It was a night and day difference. It wasn't a shift in corporate strategy or a big new client or a radical new business theory that turned it around for Larry. It was putting together a great management staff that he himself would confess was a lot smarter than he was. It was all about the people. The point here is, you're only going to be as good as the people around you. Good, competent, hard-working people will deliver great results. It's as simple as that. Larry's quick to remind me, though, beware of the wrong people, because one wrong decision can destroy your progress or make it impossible to even get started. Make good choices about who your people are. Lesson 4, final lesson. Tragedy, loss, destruction, and hardship are a certainty. What is yet to be decided is how you will respond. I know, what an awesome lesson to end this graduation speech with, really uplifting and motivating, eh? Hear me out, though, I think I left the best for last. To wrap up my time with you today, I want to get personal with you. I want to share a very important lesson my wife, Rebecca, taught me. Let me first start off by saying I'm so incredibly blessed to have Rebecca by my side. She makes me a better leader, father, husband, son, and person. This goes back to my earlier point. Surround yourself with great people and great things will happen. This point is no better proven than with my wife, Rebecca. I could go on about her for about an hour, but keeping with the advice that I got before I started this speech, let me focus on what I believe is the single most important thing I've learned from her. In 2008, Rebecca's father died of a sudden heart attack just months after we got engaged. Rod was 62. He left behind Rebecca, Rebecca's mom, and Rebecca's 2 younger siblings who were 15 and 12 years old at the time. It was a devastating loss to her family. We got married the next year and began our lives in Duluth. Each month we would take a weekend and we would make the trip down to Burnsville to visit her mom, her brother and sister, and after a while, life started to get pretty normal again. Now I want you to fast forward 5 years to September of 2013. Shortly after our firstborn son, Ben, turned 1, Rebecca's mom was killed by an impaired driver on her way to teach kindergarten in Minnetonka. She was 58. This was the darkest moment of both of our lives. Rebecca's mom, Elizabeth, also left behind her son, Matthew, who was 20 years old at the time of the accident and still living at home, and her other daughter, Michelle, who was 17 and about to start her senior year of high school. You can imagine the chaos that was in front of Rebecca and I in those days immediately after her mom was killed. We had a young baby, her siblings were alone and afraid of what was next, and she was grieving the loss of her second parent in just 5 years. What I learned from her in those days, weeks, and months following her mother's tragedy will be with me forever. What I learned is that terrible things are going to be hurled upon us during our lives, and just when we think we've seen the worst of it, more heartache comes our way. We'll never escape it. If you take but one thing with you today, please take this lesson I learned from Rebecca in that time. When she was faced with the reality of that tragedy, she knew in that moment that she needed to lead her family. She leaned on her faith, she let people in to help, and worked through each day with a sense of purpose. She faced that uncertainty with bravery and did her very best to work through challenging problems with a clear mind and a level head. It was truly inspirational to watch. I challenge you all to do the same because sometime in the future, you will be faced with tragedy or loss, either personally or professionally. It might be the first time you've experienced such an event, or it might be yet another hardship in your life that you need to deal with. I challenge you in those moments to lead. That's when leadership matters the most. Put others first and inspire those around you. I believe what I learned from Rebecca is best summed up by the evangelical Christian pastor, author, and educator Charles Swindoll, who said, "Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it." We all have people in our lives that shape who we are. These are my people and these are my experiences. I hope that in my 15 minutes on the stage today, these people and these stories resonate with you. I hope they get you thinking about the people that have made an impact in your life and what they have taught you. I challenge you to go home today, and after the grad parties and the celebrations have calmed down, take a minute to write down a few people in your life that have made an impact on you, and write down the lessons they taught you. Do it while this is fresh in your brains, because according to people that do this more than I do, this speech will be forgotten and I'll be forgotten, which is totally fine. But don't let the lessons that your important people taught you get fuzzy or forgotten. Okay, I think that's about 14 minutes. So that's about my time. Congrats again to all the graduates. Thanks again for this incredible opportunity. It's been a pleasure sharing big pieces of my life with you all on this very special day. Good luck. Merry Christmas and God bless. Thank you.